أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبرهانه ورحمة الله وبركاته. Here we are continuing the same atf principle that we have had in many sections of this Ziyarat. Here we are saying, peace be upon the proofs of Allah and the mercy of Allah and His blessings be upon them. What is Burhan? Wa Burhanihi. What is Burhan? Well, Agha Jawadi explains this term in some depth, but we are not going to go into such detail. In short, Burhan means declaring or presenting a proof or an explanation. Raghib, the famous lexicographer, says that Burhan also refers to a most strong and robust proof, and inevitably this proves also the truth of the one presenting it. So now with that in mind, let's analyze this. So Burhan is actually one of the names of Allah and appears in supplications. Some have said that the name of Allah being Burhan because Allah is continuously declaring proofs of His Lordship and hence He has been called this. This name has also been applied to the Qur'an in 4174, and in hadith it has been applied to namaz itself. It is one of the Asma fi'li of Allah, Asma fi'l of Allah, and these basically what that means is that these names require an object for them to show and manifest themselves. So how does this name then apply to the Imams? Well, as we have said, Imams alayhimussalam are the manifestations of the names of Allah, and hence if Allah is manifesting this name, this can also be applied to them as well. Secondly, as they are the speaking Qur'an and Natiq, if it can be applied to the Qur'an, it can be applied to them as well. We have a hadith of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam based on his explanation of this verse, which is 4174, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ بُرْهَانٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ نُورًا مُبِينًا. O mankind, certainly a proof has come to you from your Lord, Burhan, and we have sent down to you a manifest light, Nuram Mubina. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, Al-Burhanu Muhammadun sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Burhan refers to the Holy Prophet, wa Nuru Aliyun alayhi salam, and Nur refers to Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. So these amazing personalities, like the Quran, are clear proofs that dispel doubts and incorrect thoughts, and they correct every false belief and show the clear path. What do they show us? What do they prove to us? Well, these are four distinct things. Let's go into them one by one. Number one, they prove to us the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, they prove to us the true and accurate religion, because religion comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His wisdom, from His maslahat, from His will. And only they have access to the will and wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence, they are proofs of religion itself. Number three, the Imams show proof of themselves. How do we say this? Well, like the sun is proof of itself. If someone says, what is the sun? You can just point up and say, look, that is the sun. So in that sense, the Imams are proof of themselves. They are so amazing. They are so much full of amazing characteristics and practices that they are undoubtedly their own proofs. Now, when you want to prove someone like this, Agha says, he goes into detail, he says there are two ways. One is inner knowledge, when a person can remove veils that block them from the truth. When they work on themselves, when they perform, for example, ibadat and get closer to Allah and remove the veils from themselves, then they get a special kind of knowledge of things. For example, if you look at Nahjul Balagha, Sermon 192, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, وَلَقَدْ سَمِعْتُ رَنَّةَ الشَّيْطَانِ. When the revelation descended on the Prophet of Allah, I heard the moan of shaitan. I said, O Prophet of Allah, what is this moan? And he replied, this is shaitan, who has lost all hope of being worshipped and obeyed. Then he says, the key thing. إِنَّكَ تَسْمَعُ مَا أَسْمَعُ وَتَرَى مَا أَرَى إِلَّا أَنَّكَ لَسْتَ بِنَبِيٍّ وَلَكِنَّكَ وَزِيرٌ وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خَيْرٍ. Except that you, O Ali, you see all that I see, and you hear all that I hear, except that you are not a prophet, but you are a vicegerent, and you are surely on the path of virtue. The second type of way of knowing that someone is a proof of Allah is intellectual proofs about what qualities an Imam must have. Number 4, they prove the importance of thanking Allah for this never-ending bounty that He has given us. This is a very beautiful, unique point by Agha Jawadi. They prove the importance of thanking Allah for this never-ending bounty that He has given us. How do we say this? Well, the Qur'an is a reality that will always be there. Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam are equals of the Qur'an, and they are the other side of the Thaqalain. And these two will never be separated, as the Holy Prophet tells us in Ghadir, lan yaftariqa, they will never be separated. And hence, Imams, Prophet, Ahlul Bayt will always be there as well. So we should hence be very thankful to Allah for giving us His proof. And this is a proof which is always going to be there. And hence we should always be thankful to Him for this proof. As Imam Ali says in Sermon 182 of Nahjul Balagha, he says, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ilayhi masa'irul khalq wa awaqibul amr nahmaduhu ala azimi ihsanihi wa nayyiri burhanihi. That is the key part. Praise be to Allah, to whom is the return of all creation and the end of all matters. We render Him praise for the greatness of His generosity and the clarity of His proofs. And then Imam goes on to say many other things, but this is the key part that we wanted to highlight today, that the clarity of His proofs, when He has given a clear proof, which is Qur'an and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, the fact that they will always be there, they are always there, this is also one of the proofs that they prove to us that we have to always be thankful to Allah for His bounty that is always there and that which guides us. And then he goes on to many other things in that khutbah. I advise you to have a look at that khutbah. This is especially very, very beautiful by Amir al-Mu'mineen. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And then this section finishes with this sentence, which is basically saying that may the mercy of Allah and His blessings be upon them. So this marks the end of this section of the Ziyarat before it goes into the next part, which is going to be Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, and then onwards. So this was our explanation regarding wa burhanihi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and I think I'll stop here. And if there's any questions, then we can take them about this or even the previous 2 videos which were recorded and they've been uploaded. So if you've heard them and you have any questions about that, then we can take them now. Yes, Sister Omali Mahdi, you have put something very, very true and very beautiful there. Imams are proof of themselves. And that's why when someone comes to know them with sincerity, they fall in love and can see that they are the divine guides, just like the Quran, exactly. Shamim Bhai, salams, please, which khutbah number did you refer? So 2 khutbahs, 182 and 192 from Nahjul Balagha. So that was our brief discussion on this line from Zat Jamia, which was wa burhanihi. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.